Hey, this is Nina from NV Fine Art Studio. Sometimes in the evening I set the table for dinner and I look outside and there is this massive dark stormy cloud ramping across the valley, almost merging with a little mountain in the background. And the sun lights everything that is in front of this mountain. Trees, roofs, grass paths. Instantly I think it's so beautiful I have to paint it. Later I found this photo. And as soon as I saw it, that was it. This is the exact atmosphere, it is the exact intensity in tones and colors. I start my painting with a fine rough sketch. Then I outline it with a softer and darker pencil. I try to make one continuous line, thinking about all the connections that I will be making later in the process. Also, I'm thinking about why I'm painting this. Why I'm drawn to this scene, what the painting is all about. In other words, I have to make the main point of interest, the focus of attention. This will also help me to answer the question how to paint it. So, first I do a value study. One of the subscribers asked why to do the double work and paint value study and then color version of it, and why you cannot use black and white photo instead. First of all, the photo shows every single detail that the sensor can pick up. We're here not simply to copy, but to make art. My task as an artist to see things differently, to emphasize and put on the pedestal my star of the show. To answer the question why I paint this without the words. The value study helps me with this. It helps me to simplify or to add, to understand what things work and what don't, push things forward or back, merge shapes or disconnect. The value study is my plan to execute my artistic skills in the best possible way to tell a story. If you are new to watercolor, this concept may be quite alien, but with time and practice they will become tools that you cannot paint without and will simplify the task of producing fresh and transparent watercolor paintings. I want you to look at what I'm painting and not get overwhelmed. I want you to feel confident at any level of experience that you can take a brush, set of paints, a sheet of paper and have a go at it. Forget that it's a landscape, it's just a composition with a few shapes that merged in one big shape, thanks to our value study. And now all we need is to mix a bunch of colors of the same value and just cover this big shape. Just before we start, if at the end of this tutorial you find that you need more detailed, step-by-step, real-time guidance, please visit my Patreon page. I'm launching it very soon. I truly hope we will create a nice and friendly arty community there to share our passion. Stay tuned. Watercolor is painted from light to dark. If we go back to the value study, the white roofs, highlights on the tree and the foreground grass are white. This is the lightest value on the painting and it will be our first wash. This wash is usually done as an undertone, covering the entire sheet to unify the color in the painting. I'm using quite a bit of intense yellows and golds. This is because the sun is still high and shining bright. We need to remember that all the horizontal areas will not be covered with the following washes, and we have to stay true to the hues in these areas. I'm mixing my own green for the foreground and keeping it quite warm and luminous. I'm adding pure warmth straight to the paper to intensify the setting sun feeling and some cools to contrast the light. I'm finishing my first wash with the sky. This is because I want them still to be moist when I'm painting my middle value, to have some of the edges to merge with the sky, particularly the tree foliage and some bits and pieces of the roofs in shadow. I will later cover it with one more glaze to reach an optimal value tone. Everything except the sky is completely dry. And I quickly begin the second stage, mid-tonal wash. For this, we need to follow the value study and repeat the big connected shape. I start with the shadowed areas behind the tree and move around the painting clockwise. I want the mid-value to be smooth and united, without any dried out edges in between the shapes. But in terms of the edges between lights and darks, I want most of them to be sharp, due to the two things. First, it is still a sunny day, and secondly, all the shapes are in the mid-ground. Furthermore, as this is an afternoon sun, I want to merge the shadowed building walls together without too much separation. I try to vary the tonal values a bit and adjust colors from cool to warm hues to make the resulting shapes more interesting. I softened some edges of the tree foliage for the effect of dispersed moisture coming from the storm. I add some dry brush strokes to the rusted roofs, shadows on the foreground, and texture to the walls. As I'm painting my color mid-values, I'm continuously checking where I'm at against the value study. Third stage. I finished my previous wash with the tree. This was done on purpose. I wanted to be still wet when I start with my darks. Then I take the value study and add all the darkest darks, keeping in mind my planning process. When I'm happy with the result, I'm moving on to the painting and repeating these shadows, but in color. When all the darkest darks are in, I'm preparing a very light, tea-like consistency, bluish mix, and glazing the sky with it to achieve the true mid-value tone. I do not need to vary the color because it is very transparent and all the transitions that I made with my first wash will shine through anyway. Also, I'm adding a bit more rust to the rooftops for a color pop and a few dark dots and dashes to the foreground. Here's the finished painting, the sun and the storm. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.